Let's go ahead and call the Macon Water Authority meeting to order, and we ask Rabbi Pete to do the invocation for us. Please stand.
Our God and Creator, as we gather to do the business of this authority, we pause to gratefully acknowledge that you are the Lord our God, the God of all people, the God of all generations. So we thank you, we sing your praises for our lives, which are in your hand, for our souls, which are ever in your keeping, for the signs of your presence that we encounter every day, for the opportunity that you have given us to serve this authority, as well as the citizens that it serves, and for all of your many gifts to all of us, morning, noon, and night. We pray that peace and goodwill will obtain among the inhabitants of our county, our state, our land, and that belief in you will continue to spread its many blessings among us, exalting us all in righteousness. Amen.
Stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get the agenda approved, I'm sure that everybody knows that our longest serving board members, who had almost 37 years of service, Mr. J. Lucas Sr., passed away. Funeral services were held on Monday, and the board would take action to recognize his service at a later date. However, at this time, I'd like to take a moment to offer a toast. And we have here, I don't know what you have, let's see. Do you have a Yahoo? And a pen book. I think this is the first thing that Mr. Lucas grabbed every day, except he grabbed two of these. And two smaller ones of these. That's why we got the big one here. And you know, I think we all look in astonishment at Mr. Lucas, who drank two of these, and I don't know how many of these ate, but I saw two. And then he'd be able to jump up and run and keep up with everybody. And so I started to take up Yahoo drinking. Looked like to me it made sense. I mean, he's 95 then, but still moving like somebody 40 years old, or maybe even 30. But I say, you know, if a man drinking Yahoo, first off, you can drink these Yahoos and move like that, must be something to it. So what we want to do is do a toast tonight, Mr. Lucas. And what we like to say, if you just stand, we like to toast Mr. Lucas. And we like to say to Mr. J. Lucas Sr., a life well lived, for his friendship, his kindness, and his leadership. Cheers.
Cheers.
And I brought my water to chase that. Okay, thank you. But we will be doing the resolution later. I think I'll pass on the
I'm fixing to have
Mr. Goodbye.
That's pretty good stuff.
I tell you what, it works.
It says a good source of vitamins.
You'd have in the middle of a meeting, you'd hear that thing go.
I don't know, I might need it for this meeting though. Okay, let's go ahead. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So, second.
Been moved and seconded that the agenda be approved. All those in favor, let it be known by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion carried. The agenda is approved. Can I get confirmation of authority minutes of 10:03, which was the authorities meeting, the finance committee meeting of 10:17, and the engineering committee of the same date? Can I get a motion to approve?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that those minutes be approved. All those in favor, let it be known by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, the motion carried, and the minutes are approved. Any petition and request today from the public? Seeing none, we'll move on and go to awards and recognition. And Mr. Ross.
Yes, sir, Chairman Hart. I think everybody knows it's been an emotionally difficult year for the Water Authority this year, and some of the families of our colleagues who we lost, their lives suddenly while they were providing service, if you will, still employed. For the authority, we had the tragic accident that took the life of Matt Wood. We lost Bernard Gibson this year. Everybody knows Mr. Gibson. He was known for just being such a kind soul and helping you with any problem you had in customer care. And then shortly after that, we lost Steve Lucas, who had been at our Lower Poplar wastewater treatment plant. He just really took an interest in that plant and how it operated, looking for different ways to do things, make recommendations to us on how we might operate it. And we wanted to ask the board to pass proclamations tonight to recognize each one of them and their dedicated and distinguished service to the Water Authority. And we've got an awards luncheon in December of this year, and we want to invite their families to come to that. And we want to acknowledge their service and provide them with the proclamations at that time. So therefore, we have on the agenda the 3 proclamations to recognize Mr. Jonathan Matthew Wood, Mr. Bernard T. Gibson, and Mr. Steve Lucas. And we ask y'all if you please pass those.
Can we do it in one motion or do it? Okay. Can we then get a motion to approve the proclamations?
Second.
Been moved second that the proclamations be approved and presented at the awards dinner luncheon in December.
Yes, sir.
All those in favor, let it be known by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have the motion's carried. Let's move to the report of the standing committees and the Finance Committee. The Vice Chair, Mr. Schlesinger.
Okay, thank you. I'm doing this since Commissioner Jones is not with us today. The Finance Committee has 2 items to report to the board. Both concern the project to replace the fiber optic network at Amerson Water Treatment Plant, which is first phase in the modernization of the SCADA system. The low bidder for the project was Net Planner Systems, Inc., with a bid of $883,127.10, which is only $8,970.75 above our budget. Jacobs Engineering has reviewed the bid and recommends the award of the bid to Net Planner Systems, Inc. The Finance Committee concurs with Jacobs' recommendation and requests the board approve the award of the bid to Net Planner Systems, Inc. and approve a budget adjustment to provide an increase in the capital budget of this project in the amount of $8,970.75. Therefore, the first item from the Finance Committee is the recommended capital budget adjustment of $892,097.85.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation. Any questions? Heard the motion. Any questions? All those in favor of the motion, please let it be known by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion's carried and approved.
The second item is the recommendation to award the bid to Net Planner Systems, Inc. And there's a memorandum that we all have from our maintenance manager, Mr. Frank Evans, which reviews this topic in even greater detail. And there's also a copy of Jacob's recommendation letter. So our recommendation is to award the bid to Net Planner Systems, Inc.
Okay, it comes moving second to award from the Finance Committee to award the bid to Net Planners System, Inc. Any questions? All those in favor, let it be known by aye. Those opposed, no. Ayes have it, the motion is carried and it's awarded. engineering committee, the chairman.
The engineering committee has two items. The first is recommendation to approve task release number 7 with Varnish Design Solutions Incorporated in the amount of $305,400. The proposed task release is for engineering design and bidding and construction observation services to the short route 247-28 water line. It will run from Houston Road to a water tank in Softaky Industrial Park.
Okay, move the second from the engineering committee to approve task release number 7. Any questions? All those in favor, let it be known by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. And task number 7 is approved.
The second item is the committee's recommendation to approve task release number 15 with Hazen and Sawyer in an amount of $745,371. The proposed task release is for engineering design, bidding, and construction observation services for the new 12 million gallon water booster pumping station to serve the southern portion of our water distribution system. The water booster pump station is estimated to cost approximately $4 million. The proposed task release is enclosed for your review. And the engineering committee unanimously recommends the board approve task release number 15 with Hazen and Sawyer.
You heard the recommendation from the engineering committee to approve task release number 15, Hazen and Sawyer. Are there any questions? All those in favor, let it be known by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it in the motion, and request is approved. Okay, thank you, Mr. Patterson.
Yes.
Let's move into old business, and number 1 is consider a position for the stormwater program. Mr. Ross.
Yes, sir, Chairman Hart, I discussed this with you earlier this year. I brought to the board certain positions that we needed for us to get started with the stormwater program. And now I inadvertently left off the stormwater manager. I recognize the person who might manage the division that did operation and maintenance. And I recognize that we will not necessarily have staff in place, but we want that person on board while we're designing our program and available to us while we're creating templates for preventive maintenance operations and those types of things. So what we did was I amended the budget. Is at your station to add that position to the budget that we previously taken to the board. And then we did benefits. We added a vehicle for the position and the other equipment that we had, just, you know, the idea of the phones, the office furniture, those things. We just adjusted those budgets a little bit. And so I'm asking the board if y'all would approve us doing this. Position would be at pay grade 17, where we have our other managers, the managers for water distribution and sewer conveyance, our maintenance department, and those other positions. And that would allow us to be in a position where we could get a person on board early next year to help us as we go forward with this program.
Then we need a motion then to approve the position for stormwater and so on.
Second.
Moving in second. Any questions? All those in favor, let me know by aye.
Aye.
Those opposing,
Dr. Jones, I think what you might be seeing is,
Yes,
if you look at the other
there's a
budget.
math, there's something wrong with the math.
Yeah, I think what's wrong is we created the first sheet and added the positions, and we realized that we hadn't printed the other, and we went back to subtract it out and added the salary in the position and a couple other things. so you're not getting a good before and after picture. I apologize for that. I just noticed it myself. I mean, just a minute ago when I was looking at it with Kendra, so I apologize for that.
So the motion changed, right?
Yeah.
So the position is approved. Okay.
Good to have somebody watching the numbers.
Yeah. Okay, consider the request to amend the capital budget for Jefferson Road water and sewer expansion project. Sure.
Yes, sir, Chairman Hart. This was actually brought our attention. We communicated with Macon, Bibb County's engineering department. So we have, we did a contractual agreement with Macon, Bibb County to improve the movement of the water and sewer infrastructure to accommodate the expansion of Jeffersonville Road. What happened is we provided the information to the county, and then their engineer working on it, they basically made an error and did not include enough units of piping, 2 different types of pipe. So it should have been in the bid and it should have been covered. And what happened was they discovered that they had made that error after they got into the project. So what it is that it was approved in, the funding was approved at $2,557,496. We looked at what they did with their bid schedule, which didn't include that, and added the other units, which they had pricing on. They just didn't have the units in there to extend it out to get a total. So we need an additional $215,517.13 to be approved, and we will add that, amend the contract to add that, because it is our expense. We agreed to fund it. They just made that error, and we're asking tonight for approval to do that.
Okay, you heard the request. Before you make a motion, any questions? Can I get a motion?
Second.
Moving second, that we amend the capital budget for the Jefferson Road, water and sewer expansion project. All those in favor, let it be known by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Ayes have, the motion is carried and the question is granted. Okay, let's move into new business. And so number 1, consider passing a reimbursement resolution for the following project. A new 20-inch water line. But you want to just go ahead and see
Yes,
what
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to explain that to you. So what this is that we've got 3 projects that we've discussed the possibility of funding with bond issues. It's a 20-inch water line, a 12 MGD water booster pumping station, and then a 3 million gallon elevated storage tank. Y'all approved earlier tonight 2 of the task release for the engineering for those projects. Well, the law allows if you pass a reimbursement resolution where you anticipate issuing bonds to fund something, it allows you, when those bonds are issued, to reimburse yourself any expense you have for it. It allows up to 6 months after you've done the expense. Well, what we want to do, we don't wait till 6 months into the expense, and we want to go ahead and pass a reimbursement resolution. That would allow us to pay ourselves back if we want to, if we issue bonds. It doesn't commit the board to issue bonds. It only says if you choose to, you can reimburse yourself for these projects, and that would include the engineering and the other costs associated with it. And that's what this resolution does, Chairman Harden.
Okay. Any other questions needed? Can I get a motion then to? Okay. Second? Okay, moving second, that we pass the resolution, reimbursement resolution. All those in favor, let it be known by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have, motion carried, and the commission is given to, for the reimbursement resolution. Second one is consider the request to amend the billboard lease agreement with the Macon County Industrial Authority.
Mr. Chairman Hart, so I've got this at your station so that you can read it. It really does two parts. We have a contract with the Macon-Bibb County Industrial Authority at the Amerson Industrial Park, I-75 Industrial Park, and the Amerson Parkway is where it is. We have a digital billboard up now. There's an opportunity to put two more billboards in to generate revenue. What the board has approved is the revenue that is generated from the billboards can be spent for landscaping and the maintenance of the park. And we just signage and the landscaping near Love's was put in with those dollars. It's maintained with it. So they're asking approval to be able to add another digital sign and a static sign. So that's the one part of it. And the second part is that basically that the money will continue to be put in the account, but we can also use it on the other I-704 parks that we have developed in the future. We can spend those dollars for that purpose on those maintenance, if you will, on the landscaping and signage at those other parks too, is what they're requesting. Because the dollars are getting to be more. You know, you'll need to spend them. So for instance, we need to do some work at Sofkey Industrial Park right now on the signage, because, you know, Urban's come to that park and they're expanding and they want to make the landscaping better. There's some other parks that, you know, the Amazon, that property, you go on the southern end of that, we've got an additional 35 acres for 704. So we're just asking again to add two more billboards and be able to spend those dollars on the other properties that are 704 properties.
Okay.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we approve. Any questions? All those in favor, let it be known by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes have it, the motion is carried. Thank you, Mr. Hart. Mr. Ball, let's review the monthly financial report and health insurance report for September 30th,
Thank you.
2019.
Thank you, Chairman Hart. In your packet, you're going to notice that there's not handouts this month. Our fiscal year ended on September 30th, and unfortunately, the reports had not been printed as of the 27th of October. So as soon as those reports are available, I'll make them available to the board. I'm just going to tell you that as of that Friday, or Thursday, I guess it was, the preliminary showed that the revenues were going to be significantly over budget, several $1 million over budget. Expenses were going to be fairly favorable to the original budget, and significantly favorable to that adjusted budget that you approved for that additional $2.5 million in pension funding going into September. I did also want to remind the board that about 2 months ago, we met with the auditors, Malden and Jenkins, and because this was the first full year that we were going to be on the Kayenta financial platform, they asked us, asked me and asked Mr. Rojas and Ms. Samuels if we'd like to push the field work back. They usually start this week, actually. They usually start the first, second week of November. They're usually here the first 2 or 3 weeks of November. They made a recommendation if we wanted to, we could push it back to after the holiday, Christmas and New Year's holiday, and they gave me assurances that if they did that, nothing else would change. So the timing has been actually, with everything else, has been good timing. But I did want to remind you of that. So the audit will probably be finalized sometime around the end of January, which will be on the same time track as previous years. Health insurance, again, the handout's not in your packet, but and this is also still preliminary. through October 27th, and for the full fiscal year of 19, which ended 9/30, we showed that the fund was up approximately $856,637 for the year. There were still some outstanding accruals for coverages, claims that hadn't come in yet. At the same time, there was still some outstanding accruals that we were waiting on for, from insurance underwriters as well, that would increase the fund balance. So I had said last month or the month before that, I thought we'd be right around 900,000, 950, I think is what I was forecasting. So it's going to be in that ballpark, and maybe a little bit less than the 950, but that should not change from a materiality standpoint, it shouldn't change too dramatically. And again, my apologies, we don't have the financials for the year end yet, but we should be able to get those out here hopefully in the coming weeks, and after our preliminary review's done on.
Is this gonna slow up our audit?
No, right now,
No, I'm talking about of auditors or I don't know what month they come in.
well, that's what I was saying, Mr. Patterson, generally speaking, they've been here in November, but 2 months ago, 3 months ago, we wanted enough field time for our staff to scrub through all the financial activities, since this is the first full 12-month cycle we've been on Kayenta. So they're planning on starting January 2nd. That was scheduled 2-3 months ago. That's exactly when they're going to be starting. And I had a discussion with Miller Edwards this week. So nothing's changed. The timeline hasn't changed.
But let me say this, if the audit was delayed, you can request an extension. You know, most of you got like within 6 months to have it to the Department of Audits. But they allow extensions, and I think certainly in a circumstance where we haven't been able to access those financials for almost a couple of weeks now, they'd be understanding if it took us longer.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, let's move to the report of the executive director, Mr. Ross.
Yes, sir, Chairman Mark. The first thing I wanted to do is acknowledge, I've had discussions with each of y'all about the fact that we had a ransomware attack on October 27th. It was Sunday. We have been unable to access our records during this time. We went through the protocols that we had in place to take our system offline. We put in abeyance any penalties or disconnects for customers, because we have customers who can't pay over our web portal or can't pay by credit card. So the first thing I wanted to do is, it's obviously frustrating for our customers who want to pay their bills or want account information that, you know, maybe the bill you did get was higher than normal and you think maybe you got a leak or a misread. And so, you know, they've been inconvenienced because we haven't been able to access that. So we just want to acknowledge and thank them for their understanding. The next thing I wanted to do is acknowledge and thank our colleagues in the IT department, customer care, I know, and then all of our other departments I know IT is pretty much working 24/7 around the clock, just going as quickly as we can, although you know how that is. You don't do something like this quickly. You get frustrated because you have to be methodical about what you're doing, painstakingly methodical, and a lot of times it's hurry up and wait. But we're bringing the system back up, and I just want to acknowledge their service. We're continuing to take cash payments and checks downstairs, so we're working with paper. We've got a lot of receipts, and our folks, our colleagues in customer care are doing a great job helping the customers as best we can to do that. We know we've got a lot more ahead of us once we have our system back up, because we've got information to enter We want to allow our customers ample time to pay their bills who haven't been able to pay their bills. So we've continued to push the news out with news releases. We've been fortunate that the media has picked it up, and I think that folks understand the position we're in. We have strong backup protocols, so I think we're in a good place. I just want to acknowledge the service and the hard work of our employees during this time. And then, Chairman Hart, just want to let y'all know that we had the open enrollment for the kickoff for our healthcare, and it's really nice to be next door in our new training center, to sit down at a nice desk. I mean, we have some good properties that we had meetings with our employees before, but it's such a clean, professional space, and it's made just for that. And so we had good meetings, good news, healthcare. We had our best year in several years, and with the changes we made the year before, moving to a new network, then a new pharmaceutical provider that we work with, or a third party to help us with that. It was a good story. Our costs went down while, most of the industry is seeing costs going up. We also had less high dollar claims for our employees and their dependent, which is good economically and financially, but more importantly, it's good because somebody wasn't really sick, right? That's a high bill. It's over $50,000, which you call high dollar claims. So it was a better year for us. We updated our employees during those meetings on several things, and one of the things we did was our internal education on where we stand with stormwater management. Our contract with the county educated our employees, if you will, about the issues with stormwater in the community, the challenges that we face as a community, and the strategy which involves the water authority, and to a large extent in that. So we've begun that internal education. We've actually completed that first part of it. And I have at your station information that I think that would be of value to you. It's basically almost a frequently asked questions, one sheet, front and back, that lets you know about the stormwater issues in the community and where we are with it. And then I gave you a PowerPoint that is a little bit more detailed, and that's the PowerPoint that I used as I communicated with my colleagues about the program and how it's laid out, and the timeline, and some of the caveats, such as the opt-out alternative, that the inventory is being done, that we've already assumed responsibility for the regulatory functions for the MS4 permit and the Soil Erosion Sedimentation Act. So it's good materials. We wanted you to have them, and also wanted you to know that we are moving ahead and getting a lot of work done now. And I think you all have it at your station, but next Wednesday, the 13th, is going to be a great day for our community. They're having the grand opening for Irving Tissue, and all of y'all are invited. I've got that at your station. And then Chairman Hart will have an MSI board meeting. When we hold our December board meeting, I'm getting a little bit ahead, but kind of flying. It is November the 7th. But we will have an MSI meeting at the December board meeting, and the December board meeting is on December the 4th, which is a Wednesday, because the Chamber of Commerce has their annual banquet, if you will, that Thursday at 4. So when we adopted the calendar earlier this year, y'all moved that. I just want to remind you of that. I know, again, it's just a month away though, and I know how calendars can get busy. Our employee awards luncheon is December the 12th, which is a Thursday, at the Anderson Water Treatment Plant, and then our holiday celebration is on Friday, December the 13th. If you will, our Christmas party. And And then Chairman Hart, I've got quite a few referrals, if
Okay.
that's okay with you. So we have our pension committee meeting where we'll do the quarterly reports on the investments. But we'll also have at that meeting, Nyhart, who provides actuarial services, and they'll be reviewing the actuaries and giving the board recommendation on some best practices that we can implement for our pension plan and retirement savings plan. And then also we'll be talking to us about where we stand on the portal that we're looking at creating for our employees for the pension plan, so they can go and see information. I know, Mr. Patterson, you requested that, but were kind enough to wait till the November meeting when we were getting together. And we've met with Nyhart between that, and we're doing a lot of work, so I think you'll be pleased. And then, you know, we hope to have a proposed budget for you to look at for the first year of stormwater. Again, with what we've been dealing with, we may be set off some on that. May even try to do it as a working session because we might have additional issues to bring to you. But, you know, that was what we had scheduled, and we're not sure if we can meet that, but we do want to refer it because we'd like to. And then also the update the board on the stormwater program and implementation. And as I said, it may make sense for us to do that in a working session instead. Looking at a change order potentially for the wastewater treatment plants. The last one we would do for that project, some items to pick up that we had. We discussed that previously. Again, if we can access the finances and study them, we might be in a position 2 weeks from now. If not, we may have to delay that. And then we want to do some investigative work on our 24-inch and 42-inch sewer line interceptors that come into Rocky Creek, where we've been doing some clearing and repairs. We hope to have that recommendation to engineering. And then I think we'll have an agreement for architectural services for the renovation of this building and some other properties we're working on. I hope to have that to you. And that's all I have here.
Okay. Anybody?
I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
So nobody. Okay. All right. Okay. I need a motion to go into executive session regarding litigation and consultation with legal counsel pertaining to potential pending litigation, settlement, claims, administrative procedures, or judicial procedures to be brought by or against the authority for any officer, employee, or agency. For land acquisition, for discussion regarding transition of real estate by and from the authority, and personnel consultation regarding personnel matters. Can I get a motion?
Second.
Get moved and second, let's go into executive session. All those in favor, let me know by aye. Ayes have the motion carried. Moving into executive session.